too, her courage and strength throughout her life, and how she faced an illness that changed her in ways no one could have imagined. She lived life on her own terms, ever relying on a divine presence that was with her to the end. May this time together be a space of compassion for her, for one another, and for ourselves. May we speak honestly of love and loss, of beauty and grief. May we find, even in sorrow, a thread of peace in knowing that her suffering has ended, and that her story continues in the hearts of those who loved her. Let us begin this time of remembrance in gratitude for her life, in tenderness for her journey, and in hope that love, still alive among us, will carry us through. I'd now like to call up Deacon McGuire to say a few words.
There's a problem. I'm an Irishman, and a few words are difficult. I had the honor of meeting Debbie a long time ago. I met her husband, lawyer Maloney, before that, Dennis, and in a legal little battle we had in opposition. He was on the opposite side of me. But then when he met Debbie, he came to my church, asking about getting married. And they got married in 1981 in my parish, St. Patrick's, in Daughenbaugh, Anchorage. And 4 years later, they came to me again and said, "We've adopted this beautiful little baby. Her name is Bridget, and would you baptize her?" So I got to baptize Bridget. And 5 years later, Patrick comes. I got to baptize Patrick as well. So I got a special relationship with the two of them way back in the 80s and 90s. Then Dennis got involved with a lawsuit with the school district. He was representing a young man who was being abused and bullied in school. And Dennis was like a warrior. He used to, look at the picture that's on the back here with the long hair and everything. He's lived it. But he went after it like a bulldog. And realizing that Patrick had challenges too, he didn't want that down his Patrick. So he took the initiative and filed a lawsuit. And won a pretty heavy lawsuit against the school district because they had not listened when this young man was being discriminated against. And so he became known as the lawyer to go to if anybody was being discriminated against. Dennis would fight for that. And Debbie on his side was just supporting him 100%. I didn't wear black today because Debbie would probably forgive me if I wore pink and blue and something else. She was that was her, not black. She wanted to be looking at more the resurrection of what's going to happen rather than the sorrow of death. And so she is indeed, as your minister said, in a better place. No sorrow, no pain, no problem. And eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has it entered the heart of man what God is waiting for us. And that's what we're looking for. And she is now gone where Dennis had gone to. I got to do Dennis's funeral too, so I've been involved in his family quite a bit. And thanks to Patrick. Patrick keeps in touch. He's great with the emails and he sends emails all the time. But knowing where they were and how they lived their lives and how they reached out to everybody, Debbie never knew a stranger. She never knew, especially a stranger who was in need. She was there to help them all the time. enthusiasm for schools for Patrick, I think, more than anything else. And in the meantime, I was down in Tucson, Arizona. I came back here to be close to my kids, and we renewed our commitment to each other about 3 or 4 years ago. So I became another visitor to the house. So lots of visitors came to the house. But what an exceptional life she had. You know, she was a ski bum. But that's what took her to the first place. She had football at Daughenbaugh. She came to ski at Alaska, and she wanted to. She enjoyed the skiing and the outdoor lives more than anything else. Loved fishing, loved all the things that we do. And Dennis was a soulmate in that sense, that he was the same. He loved to go fishing, he loved to go hunting with the Anchorage cabin on the King of the River. And they would even allow people like me to come and stay in the cabin for a weekend to do my fishing. So they were a wonderful contribution to the citizens of Anchorage. Really missed when they moved. So we had the grace of knowing them, and that was a wonderful thing that we got the opportunity to share in their lives. And now Debbie's in the far, far right place that St. Paul was even wondering about. In his letter to the Philippians, he said, for me, life means Christ. But as long as I go on living in the flesh, it means productive toil. I don't know which I prefer. But in the end, it is better to be with Christ. That's the far better thing. And then in those words, that's there for all of us. The reason we're here is not for to have a nice car, to have a wonderful house, to have those things, a lot of money. We're here as a testing place on the way to where Debbie is. And she's now in the final place where she will hope to be. So Debbie, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the rain fall softly on your fields, and the sun shine warmly on your face until we meet again.
entire life, even though they did met years ago, and they did have a plan together, and that was by building the most perfect dream house, which was right over on Bridget here in the Daughenbaugh Marsh, before their marriage was in 1981. Until in 2000, they were separated, so Mom did have a plan, which was to go over to Seattle. By the time of my mother, she would officially came to New Horizon, which is like, try to be like a volunteer for most of her life. And I would say that's because, as a son, I've been in school from 4 to 12. And one day, a few hours ago in 2006, my dad did have a plan, and that was by filming New Horizon, making it into a movie. So that was officially being also involved by interviewing by my aunt Nancy, and got to be one of the thank yous between with Dad, Mother, John Nancy. She also did love music as well, was because she loved all kinds of music, between Billy Joel, Elton John, didn't see Elvis perform through her life. And my other simple moment is she also was a person who got to watch and
Lisa from Debbie's lifelong friend, Ray Lynn. I met Debbie when we were 11 years old in Wichita at an elementary school when a boy named Ray invited both of us to meet. We found out that we were both his girlfriends. Later that day, he broke up with me, and when Debbie heard this, she broke up with him. And after that, Debbie and I became best friends for 64 years. I would often spend Friday nights with Debbie during our junior high years after we would go to dances at TARP. We would get up early Saturday mornings and go into her mother's Betty Crocker kitchen. It was beautiful and spacious. Instead of fixing breakfast, we would prepare 2 batches of chocolate chip cookie dough. We would always eat the first batch before baking them, and baking the second batch for later. We always ended up having tummy aches after. We were inseparable for the next 4 years until I moved at the end of our sophomore year to Emporia. Distance would not keep us apart, as I would travel often to Wichita on weekends, and we would call each other often. Dial phones were in style then, and we shared line with family members. I fell in love my freshman year in college, and 2 years later got married, which Debbie was at the top of my list to be a bridesmaid. We stayed in touch, and I would visit her when she lived in Alaska, Seattle, and many trips to Wichita when she and her children would come back to visit during the summer. A few times with her sisters, Patrick and Bridget, would come to Kansas City, where we would be able to spend time together. I was blessed when she and Patrick moved to Derby a few years ago, as I was able to drive down often, and we would spend the day together walking around the pond in the back of their home, arm in arm, laughing, often talking about our past years together. It was amazing how much she remembered our junior high and high school years that I had forgotten. We had many laughs and sometimes tears, but I cherished every single visit. It was always a joy when Patrick would join us for lunch. He was so protective and was right by her side for assistance she needed. She loved and adored Patrick and Bridget so much. Loyalty, honesty, empathy, respect, supportiveness, and great listener were just a few of the beautiful qualities Debbie had. Her laughter was often loud and contagious, following up with the words, "That's a hoot." That will always be in my mind and forever in my heart. Saying goodbye this soon is so hard, so instead I'll just say I love you, and I know you are with me always. God's blessing, Ray Lynn. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more, neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, no pain anymore, for the former things have passed away. Revelation 21:4.
loving and holy God, with gratitude for all the gifts you bestowed in the world through Debbie, and the assurance that her presence among us continues through our lives and love, we acknowledge that it always feels too soon to let go. Some of us may hold regrets and remorse, with conflict unintended or words left unspoken. But it is in faith and gratitude that we affirm that you, love eternal, welcome Debbie with open arms. We entrust Debbie to your embrace, where there is no suffering,